The NFL season is unfortunately over, and all we have left to look forward to is free agency and trades. The first big trade of the NFL offseason was Deebo Samuel being traded to the Washington Commanders for a 5th round pick. I want to say the Commanders got that 5th rounder in the trade for Marshawn Lattimore, so way to move around some Deebo Samuel can be a very valuable weapon, not only in the pass game, but on the ground game as well. And for a team like the Washington Commanders, whose leading rusher was their quarterback and didn't have many receiving weapons outside of their number 1 target in Terry McLaurin, I think Deebo Samuel is going to be a perfect fit for this team. Now, Deebo does have some injury issues here and there, but outside of that, I think he can be an elite weapon, and I do think that Cliff Kingsbury will find a way to use him very efficiently, and that this will work out for the Commanders, and I do think it was a good trade on the 49ers end as well. And with that being said, today, we're back with a Madden 25 rebuild where we will be rebuilding the Washington Commanders with Deebo Samuel. If you enjoy the video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So first things first, we're going to have to get into a couple re-signings here. We don't have Deebo on the team just yet because I know I'm going to have to go to the 49ers team to be able to get Deebo for a 5th round in Madden because the trading in this game is just terrible. So we're going to do these re-signings first, starting with Jeremy Chinn, who is somebody that I would definitely like to have back. He's not interested in the team though, so we're going to give him a pretty good offer for 3 years, $25 million. He does not accept it. I do think safety, especially in Madden, is a pretty replaceable position though. Now, Noah Brown, him being a free agent, I think is a little bit why they did go for Deebo, to kind of have like a safety net for another receiver, and they are very different types of receivers, but I do think with Deebo now being on the Washington Commanders, I do see a world where they move on from Noah Brown, and I'm not going to re-sign him here. Benjamin St. Just isn't bringing much value being 27 at corner, and if there's not a better option in free agency, we'll just try to re-sign him there. Other than that, there's not really many players I want to bring back. I would consider bringing back Dante Fowler because this defense is going to need all the help it can get, especially right in this moment. So we're going to offer him like a 1-year, $9.5 million deal, which he doesn't take, so we are going to have to make a couple moves here in free agency. So let's hop into free agency. Let's get Deebo on the team first thing, and then let's see what moves we can make. Wow, I did not know that Deebo Samuel was down to an 83 overall in this game. But we do now have Deebo Samuel on the roster. I do think I'm going to try to get him involved in our rush game as much as possible because Brian Robinson is pretty good, but he's not very good in Madden, and even in real life, I don't think he had a very good finish to the season. And like I said in the intro, Jaden Daniels was their leading rusher. So I do think if we can get Deebo involved in the ground game, that will be very helpful. But as of right now for this team, it does look like Zach Ertz retired, or he did go in free agency. I want to say he retired here. So we are going to need to address tight end. The offensive line could use a little bit of work as well. But the main problem with this Commanders team this year was going to be their defense. I think we have a lot of positions that we're going to need to fill in. Looks like we also lost Bobby Wagner to retirement, so we are going to need another linebacker. We lost Jeremy Chinn, as we saw earlier, so we need to replace that. We definitely need to add more to the secondary. I do like that we have Marshawn Lattimore, but outside of that, it is pretty slim pickings. We do have Mike Sainer still, who is pretty good as a rookie. So I'm hoping this is somebody we can develop and have in our secondary long term, but I do think we need one more guy. And I do think something I'm going to do to try to help build this defense a little bit more will be trading Jonathan Allen. He's been wanting to get traded out of Washington for a while, and even after this season, he does still seem like he wants to find a different team. So I do think here, maybe on draft day, we might be moving on from Jonathan Allen, seeing if we can get some value out of him. Now in Madden, I could easily trade Jonathan Allen for like a 1st and a 2nd round pick, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to try to keep this as realistic as possible. If I had to guess, I think Jonathan Allen goes for like a 3rd at most. He probably goes for less in real life. I don't know. D-tackle is a pretty valuable position. I honestly couldn't guess what he would go for in real life, but we're going to try to get something that's pretty realistic value. But let's take a look at what free agents are available, and let's see what we can hopefully add to this roster to make even better here in the first year. Yeah, so I guess whenever I switch back to the Commanders, it made it to where I'm not able to sign free agents here in the first wave. So I guess I should have just went and gotten Deebo on draft day, but it's whatever. I'm just going to sim to the 2nd wave of free agency, see if maybe we can get a couple players. It's going to really suck if there's somebody that I would have really wanted here. That's just how it goes sometimes. So let's see if there's any free agents available whatsoever that we can maybe get. Trent Brown actually would be a pretty good value we could add to this team, especially with the move they made for Deebo. They're clearly in a situation where they're trying to win right now. I think Trent Brown would actually be perfect for this team. We're going to give him a little 2-year offer and see if he wants to accept that. I guess Bobby Wagner didn't retire. I guess we just missed him in the signing. So if we could bring him back on a 1-year deal, I think that would be very valuable, especially because that's just 1 more year. We don't have to worry about replacing the position. But yeah, we weren't able to try to get Jeremy Chinn back. We did miss out on a few players that I would have liked to have, but it's whatever. And actually, Cameron Bynum is still sitting here as an available free agent. I think that would be an upgrade from Jeremy Chinn. It does look like the Rams are pretty interested in him, so we might have to lob him a bag real quick, but that's okay with me. If you didn't know, I'm a Vikings fan, so I am a very big fan of Cameron Bynum, but we're going to be going for Trent Brown, trying to bring back Bobby Wagner. We're going to go for Cam Bynum as well. Hopefully he doesn't go to the Rams. That would suck, but we're going to go ahead and send these offers through. All 3 players did sign, and we did get all 3, so I do think we made this team a decent amount better, and we still have the draft left as well, because we got to keep in mind we are coming off of an NFC championship, so really anything we can add to this roster right now is going to be helpful for us, because weirdly enough, even though we do have a very good rookie quarterback and some young pieces, we are kind of in a win now situation because outside of Jaden Daniels, we don't have much like young talent on this roster. I do like Luke McCaffrey, but let's be real, he's not like a superstar or anything. And then we have Jerzon Newton, but outside of that, there's not much very young talent on this team, so we're definitely going to need to try to get a little bit younger while also trying to take advantage of this win now window we're in. But here we are on draft day. I want to see if there's a team that's going to be interested in Jonathan Allen. He does only have 1 year left on his deal, so this would be a good time to trade him. I don't want to trade him to the NFC. I want to try to trade him to an AFC team, so maybe we don't have to see him very frequently. So we're going to go ahead and ship off Jonathan Allen to the New England Patriots for their 3rd round pick this year, and we're going to get a 4th and a 5th for 2026. Now, this 2025 draft class is going to be the real-life prospects. I'm going to be 100% honest here. I don't know much about this draft class outside of the really big names. It normally takes me a while to get to know all the rookies because I don't really watch college football, so I have to, we don't got to get too much into that. But I think our best bet is trying to draft something on the defensive side of the ball. We're obviously not going to get like an Abdul Carter or anything like that. And we're obviously also not going to get Travis Hunter or Will Johnson. But being able to get a pass rusher or a corner in round 1, I do think is going to be what's best for us. Maybe like a Mikael Williams. And if we did get Michael Williams, then we could always get somebody like Morrison or Burke in the 2nd round. So let's just go ahead and hop into the draft here. I'm not going to trade up or down. I'm just going to stick and pick and see what value we can get here in the 1st round. So the Titans did take Cam Ward at number 1 overall. Dude, this draft class kind of sucks ass. It's the best one I've been able to find. But Abdul Carter goes 3. Kelvin Banks goes 4. So Travis Hunter falls to 5. I do think Shador falling to like 9 is a little bit realistic, but the people that are going above him just don't make much sense to me. Ashton Jeanty got drafted to the Cowboys here, which is not going to happen in real life, but that's pretty interesting. But Denzel Burke is still available here. Michael Williams is not. So I do think trying to get the best corner off the board here in round 1 might be a good play. And he looks pretty good. I don't know much about this draft class. I barely even know who Denzel Burke is. But he's going to be our 1st round pick, and we're going to draft him to be a Washington Commander. He was ranked 23 in true value and has hidden depth, so that is a good pick in my book. We needed a corner. We got a corner. Let's go. Here in the 2nd round, I'm going to see if there's basically any value left at the DN position. However, we do need a new tight end, and Tyler Warren and Mason Taylor are both still available. I don't know where Tyler Warren is projected to go in real life, but I do like Tyler Warren. And he looks pretty good in this draft class as well. We need a tight end pretty bad. So we're going to go ahead, take Tyler Warren here in the 2nd round. A pretty interesting pick, but he was good for the value we drafted him. He does not have a dev trait, but I think if we could get him going as a rookie, he still will end up being our long-term tight end. And then we have 2 picks here in the 3rd round that I really have no idea what I'm going to be drafting. It couldn't hurt trying to get another receiver because Deebo and Terry McLaurin are both pretty old. And then outside of that, our best receiver is Luke McCaffrey. Kyron Lacey is still left on the board. He doesn't look too crazy, but we do need youth at receiver right now, so I'm going to go ahead and reach on Kyron Lacey here. And I mean, he's number 49 true value, so we definitely did draft him in a good spot. He does have normal dev, but being able to get a young receiver right now with how the team's looking is definitely going to be valuable to us. And we actually don't have 2 3rd rounders because I forgot we don't have our other 3rd rounders. So we're going to go ahead and just let the CPU have the rest of this draft, and we'll look at the draft recap and see what roster we're working with going into year number 1. So Denzel Burke is a 75 overall. I do think this guy should probably be on the team for the entire rebuild. I like the Tyler Warren pick as well. He's going to be our tight end 1. And Kyron Lacey was even a good pick. I think he's going to slip in as our receiver 3 as a rookie. So if we could get him going in his rookie year, that would also be very valuable. Hey, and even with us missing the first wave of free agency, we were actually able to add a lot of pieces to this team before year 1, so I do think we should have a good season here. Now I want to see if I can try to cheese away to where Deebo Samuel's playing running back and receiver. Give me 1 second. So you mean to tell me if I move Deebo Samuel to running back, I can't put him as a receiver in the depth chart, but I can put Jaden Daniels as a receiver? Cool. I can, however, make Deebo the starting slot receiver. So here's how the roster is looking. It does not show Deebo as a receiver, but he is going to be our starting slot receiver, so he will be in the game getting targeted, but he's also going to be the backup running back, and he's going to be the starting 3rd down back. So hopefully we are getting the best value out of him as possible. I do wish we could have worked on the offensive line a little bit more going into this season. We should be getting as much value out of Deebo as possible. Now on the defense, Dorrance Armstrong is going to be one of our starting pass rushers, then Frankie Louvu is going to be coming off the other side. I do want to see if I can try to get it to where I'm using him kind of off ball and as a pass rusher. But we added Cam Bynum in free agency, and we got Burke in the draft. So I do think the defense looks a little bit better than last year. We did lose Jonathan Allen, but we got some picks for him. And I don't hate how the team's looking. We do need to get a kicker and a punter. But as you can see, Deebo is going to be our starting slot receiver and our starting 3rd down back. So we're going to see how that's going to work. I do need to mess with the playbooks a little bit. I do know Washington's playbook kind of sucks. One of my biggest complaints about this game every single year is that playbooks just matter way too much. But hey, if it's what I got to do, it's what I got to do. What I've noticed in the most recent rebuilds I've been doing is that the Green Bay Packers playbook on offense is insane. Your running back normally gets more carries than every other running back in the NFL, and your receivers still get a lot of targets and a lot of yards. And I never really know what to do for a for like a 4-3 or a 4-6 defense. I'm gonna go with the Jets. I've had a little bit of success with it. Don't take my word for that. I'm sure you guys can know a better one. If you do know a better one, actually please let me know because this shit's actually getting annoying. But yeah, we're gonna be going with Green Bay offense and Jets defense. All right, I got us a kicker and our punter, and we're ready to hop into year number 1. I'm actually very curious to see how this Deebo situation is gonna go. Is he gonna play more at running back, more at receiver? I do like that there was a situation where I was able to make it work for both. We're going to go ahead and set our season goal. If this was real life, I'd definitely make it to win the Super Bowl. They made the NFC Championship this year, but I'm just going to go with make the playoffs because I don't think in Madden specifically we're going to have a good enough roster to take us to a Super Bowl right now. And then for scouts, I do think I want to scout some receivers probably. And then even though we did make our DB group a little bit better, I do think our cornerbacks are still a little bit thin. So we're going to set our tier 3 scout to be cornerback and wide receiver. And now we're officially ready to get into year 1. So we're going to go ahead and sim to midseason, see how the team's doing. Hopefully we're sitting at about like 4-3, maybe 5-2. That'd be great. But let's just see where this team is at midseason. All right, and we are sitting at 3-4 at the midseason, coming off a win against the Cowboys, though, which in Madden is a lot better than in real life. I do wish we were a little better than 3-4, but with us only having a 79 overall defense, it does make sense. We do have the 12th defense and points, and we have one of the best rushing offenses in the league. It's just we're not scoring a lot of points, and we're not passing the ball very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at everybody's stats, especially Deebo's. I really am curious to see how he's doing with the way we're using him. Now, Jaden Daniels, having a bit of a sophomore slump here. He has 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, but 8 interceptions. Definitely not what we want to see right now. So Brian Robinson's our leading rusher with about 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. But Deebo is getting some action on the ground. He's averaging 5.7 yards a carry and has 2 touchdowns as well. That's beautiful. And Jaden Daniels with 150 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Deebo also has 180 receiving yards, no touchdowns though. Kyron Lacy, as a rookie, is leading our receiving group with 350 yards and 6 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin's doing pretty good, 300 yards, only 1 touchdown. I honestly don't pay much attention to the offensive line numbers in this game because they literally are terrible. If you ever do a franchise, just ignore this because your highest overall offensive lineman is normally going to allow the most sacks, but normally it's going to be a tackle, which makes sense, but these numbers just get way too high sometimes, so I honestly don't pay much attention to them. Offensively, I especially am more curious about our pass rush. Deron Payne's actually doing pretty good. He has 3 sacks and 6 TFLs. We have 2 sacks out of Dorrance Armstrong. It looks like Frankie Louvu is doing a whole lot of not 462 snaps, no sacks. It's not what we're trying to see. But we are getting to the quarterback a little bit. And we got 2 picks out of Sainristil, 1 out of Reeves, Wagner, Bynum, and Frankie Louvu. So defense could be playing a lot worse. I'll definitely take where we're at now. It almost looks like our defense is outperforming our offense somehow, but that's just Madden simulation for you. Let's go ahead and see what players are ready to negotiate here. We need to re-sign Terry McLaurin. He's 29 years old. He is an X Factor 93 overall. He's going to start regressing here pretty soon, or he is already regressing, but he's going to start regressing even more. And then we need to re-sign Brian Robinson. We could bring back Andrew Wiley, but I wouldn't hate trying to draft a new tackle instead. Why'd I have to take Kobe, man? I could have took Chris Paul. We could re-sign Bobby Wagner, but if he doesn't retire, I'd much rather re-sign him at the end of the season because he'll regress and be cheaper. First things first, do we want to bring back Terry McLaurin with him not being interested? Because I know I don't want to give him a 4-year deal. I'd give him 3 at max. And with him not being interested, I do need to raise the money up a little bit. 3 years, 93 is probably the most I would do. If we do end up losing Terry McLaurin, that'll suck, but I do think we could replace him. So let's make this offer. I don't think he'll take it, which he doesn't. Maybe at the end of the season we can make something work, but as of right now, we're not going to be bringing back Terry McLaurin. Brian Robinson, with how weak our rushing game is right now, I don't think we can afford to lose him. So we're going to give him a 2-year, $10 million deal, which he takes. And I think that's going to be all the re-signings we make here right now. We'll come back to the rest of them at the end of the season. Well, I definitely am happy that I scouted receivers, and receiver is a strength of the class. So we're going to set that to our focus position. Hopefully, if we do lose Terry McLaurin, we can replace him here in this year's draft. But that's all we really need to do here at the midseason. Let's go ahead and get to the end of the season, see if we can maybe make the playoffs. We have a pretty winnable game here against the Vikings, and then we should have a winnable game against the Raiders. And we did just beat the Cowboys, so hopefully we can get 3 straight here. Maybe we can go to 6-4 and find ourselves in the playoffs. We're just going to have to see, so let's get to the end of the season. Or let's just lose to the Vikings. That works too. And we unfortunately finished the season 7-10, coming off a loss to the Eagles 41-14, and then a loss to the Lions 31-0. That's great. I guess the Lions got their revenge or whatever. I do think where our overall is, this makes sense in Madden, but I just do, maybe the overalls need to be better because I don't think the Commanders go 7-10 next year. If you really persuaded me, I could see a world out there where the Commanders maybe miss the playoffs next year, but the Giants had a better record than us. The Vikings had a better record. We had the same record as the Panthers. Like, I definitely don't think that that's fair, but it's whatever. Let's take a look at the stats from this season. Like, these are just very quiet numbers from Jaden Daniels. 3,300 passing yards, 25 touchdowns. He did chill out with the interception, so that's a lot better. Hopefully he can carry that over to next year, and then we can win more games in the beginning of the season. Brian Robinson was pretty decent on the ground, 850 yards, 3.5 per carry, and 8 touchdowns. And Deebo was very efficient on the ground, 400 yards, averaged 5 per carry, and got 7 touchdowns. Kyron Lacy did end up being our #1 receiver as a rookie, 950 yards and 10 touchdowns. Could be enough for Offensive Rookie of the Year, assuming it doesn't go to one of the quarterbacks. Terry McLaurin with about 900 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Deebo through the air got 430 yards and 2 touchdowns, so he had almost 1,000 total yards, almost 10 total touchdowns. I do think that was a very good year out of Deebo. And then defensively, we're able to generate any pressure. Most of our sacks came from the interior, which is not something we really want to see. Deron Payne with 7.5 sacks. Frankie Louvu did actually do something in the second half of the season, getting 4.5 sacks. Dorrance Armstrong was decent. Jerjon Newton was pretty good. 4 picks out of Frankie Louvu, so he actually had a very good year. 4.5 sacks, 4 interceptions, 70 tackles. He was moving around the field, so He might even get a vote or two for Defensive Player of the Year. 3 out of Sainristil, Still, 3 out of Bobby Wagner, 3 out of Cameron Bynum, 1 out of Reeves, Lattimore, and Denzel Burke. Let's go ahead and take a look at the awards. I think we could have competed for Offensive Rookie of the Year. MVP is going to go to Patrick Mahomes here. Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC is going to go to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm honestly surprised Deebo didn't get a vote. I mean, and Shedeur Sanders got a vote, so we definitely didn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Caden Ellis. Very interesting. Frankie Louva did get a vote. He sits in here at 6th place. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Shedeur. We did get 2nd with Kyron Lacey. And we also came in 8th with Tyler Warren. Defensive Rookie there is going to go to Deion Walker, who went to the Vikings. And Denzel Burke's going to finish in 9th place. So, honestly, not a terrible year. I definitely do wish it was a little bit better, but I do think there's a world where we make the playoffs next season. And I think Deebo shouldn't regress too much because he did have a pretty good season. So, let's go ahead and hop into the offseason and see if we can try to figure out how to fix things for year number 2. Wow, that's really fun, Madden. We got a repeat of last year's Super Bowl. Chiefs, Eagles, and the Eagles once again put on a booty. So, thanks, game. That was a lot of fun. I hate this game. Let's take a look, see if we had any retirements. Bobby Wagner might have called it quits. Yeah, we lose Bobby Wagner. We lose Austin Eckler. Outside of that, losing these other 2 players don't really mean much to us. And we didn't really lose much to retirement. So I'm honestly okay with that. I do want to take a look at the roster, see how everybody developed. Maybe if we got any, dev ups or anything like that. So Jaden Daniels is up to an 88 overall. Deebo does look like he regressed just a little bit, but I do think he'll be fine. Maybe we even use him as a starting running back next year. I mean, that's not very realistic. Obviously, the Commanders aren't going to do that, but this is a rebuild, and I kind of get to do whatever I want, so I'm going to do whatever I want. It does suck that Lacey didn't get a dev up for coming in 2nd place for Rookie of the Year because Shedeur just went off for the Saints, but he's up to a 79 overall, so he'll definitely be a valuable piece of the team here for a while. It doesn't look like we got any dev ups on defense either, but Frankie Louva had a good year. I think we need to upgrade Dorrance Armstrong to a better pass rusher, and then we obviously need to replace Bobby Wagner. But outside of that, I do think our free agency this year should be pretty easy. We have a few holes we need to fill, which we should be able to do through free agency in the draft. But first, let's hop into these re-signings. I want to see if there's a world where we can get Terry McLaurin back, because it would be nice to not have to find his replacement so urgently. So he did regress from the last time we sent him this offer. I'm going to offer him $500,000 more a year in bonus. And he wants to play for a new team next year. I wonder how much a tag would be for him. 34, that's really only like $3 million less than what we were going to offer him per year. I wouldn't hate doing that. I want to see if we can get back Andrew Wiley first. Or do we try to replace him in the draft as well? This is just a lot of money for somebody who's not going to be on this team very long. But $14 million for a lockdown tackle, I would pay. He's not interested in signing. Cool. Then I'll have to re-sign our kicker and punter. I think I am going to use the franchise tag on Terry McLaurin. There might be receivers in free agency, but it would be cool if we could sign one and then lose Terry McLaurin next year instead of just having to let Terry McLaurin walk here. So we're going to put the franchise tag on him. So let's go ahead and hop into free agency here. It would be really cool if there's like a stud young receiver that we could pick up. I doubt it. And hopefully a pass rusher too. Either of those would be pretty cool and pretty useful. So let's go ahead and take a look at the available free agents. We have a lot of money to work with as well. See, Joe Thuney wouldn't be a bad signing because he could play basically anywhere for us on the offensive line. He did just recently get traded to the Bears, so that's pretty cool. There's a way to put the exact rosters in Madden, but it's a lot of work, and it also just makes all the contracts screwed up. You got to do a lot of extra work, so screw all that. But Joe Thuney is available here for us in the game. Zach Tom's also available, and he'd be a really good signing, but he's not interested whatsoever. Oh, James Cook will be a good signing. He's not interested. All the players that I want aren't interested in the team, so that's pretty cool. I think I'm just going to shoot a couple offers at a few guys, and once I get all the offers put out there, I'll show you guys everybody we're going for here. All right, so in free agency, we're going to try to get Joe Thuney. We can play him at tackle. We can play him at guard. I don't know what we're going to do yet. We're going to go for Dallas Goedert as well. We did draft a rookie tight end, but having somebody like Dallas Goedert in right now is going to be a lot more helpful. Khalil Shakir, somebody we're going to go for. He's not interested. We had to overpay a little bit, but I'm hoping we can get him over the Panthers because he could be a long-term receiver for us. Then we're going to try to get Zadarius Smith on a little one-year deal. I don't think we're going to get him, but let's go ahead and send these offers through. Just see what happens. So it looks like we did get Joe Thuney. We're getting outbid for Dallas Goedert. We're getting outbid for Khalil Shakir. No other offers for Zadarius Smith. I would be willing to pay Dallas Goedert a little bit more money. All right, so we gave Dallas Goedert a higher offer. Can we match the Khalil Shakir offer? Like, I don't really want to like overpay for him. We were already overpaying just a little bit. I don't think we're going to be able to match whatever the other teams are giving him. We weren't able to go for Romeo Doubs. Is there anybody here we can maybe go for? Yeah, there's really no receivers that I'm interested whatsoever. So we're just going to have to take the L there. We'll see if Dallas Goedert wants to sign. I do think he'd be a valuable weapon to the team. We do get Dallas Goedert, and Zadarius Smith is starting to get better offers. I would be willing to slightly overpay for him because we do have money, and having like a one-year guy like Zadarius Smith would help. We're not going to be able to match the Broncos offer, so we're not going to get him, but we did get a couple valuable pieces to the team. Hopefully we can build the rest through the draft. We'll just have to see. I do think we might need to get another running back. because Deebo's being very efficient on the ground. We could make him the starting running back, but Brian Robinson's just not kind of cutting it right now, and in Madden franchise, running back is one of the most important positions. But we're slowly building this team. We just got to see what we're going to do. I did kind of forget we had Brandon Coleman, so we might not need to draft a tackle. We may as well just let Brandon Coleman start at left tackle. If this was real life, I'd switch him and Trent Brown, but that's just a lot of work, and it's literally going to make no difference. So we're going to leave Joe Tooney at guard. We definitely need to try to draft a receiver this year. That's without a question. And then we're going to need to draft a linebacker as well. And it would be nice to draft a pass rusher, but I'm definitely not going to like reach on one if I don't need to. And then I'll make sure I throw Deebo into the slot receiver, you know, once that time comes around. But first, let's see if we can make this team better through the draft. There are some very good receivers with a round 1 to 2 talent that's not supposed to go to round 3 to 4. And then there's a few round 1 talents that are going to go early in the first round. If Marco Clement is available for us in the first round, I might take him. He doesn't look crazy though. And then there's a round 1 pass rusher in Norman Neal that's not projected to go to the 2nd or 3rd round. Now this is somebody I would really like to draft, because then we could just leave Frankie Louvu as an off-ball linebacker, and that'll kind of help fill out that hole. So I would even be willing to trade up a little bit in the 2nd round to try to get this guy. So we'll have to see what we want to do there. I think we're just going to stick and pick in the first round, and then maybe trade up a little bit in the 2nd round, because I would really hate if that guy got snagged from us. Let's go and up into the draft. Let's see what we can add to this team here. I don't know. We do pick 10th overall. I don't think we'll need to trade up in the 2nd round. I think we'll be all right. But Markel Clement is available here for us in the first round. I mean, since this guy's around 1 to 2 talent, I wouldn't be reaching to take him, so I just want to make sure I don't like any of these guys better. Now, I do think Markel Clement's probably going to be the best bet, and we know he's around 1 talent, so if he does have a dev trait, he should be a very good receiver on the team for the entire rebuild. So we're going to go ahead and take him. He's ranked 13 in true value, and he is hidden dev, thank God. This is going to be a very good pick. If we do lose Terry McLaurin next year, we should have his replacement now. Now, we just need to pray that that pass rusher doesn't get snagged by somebody before our pick, and he did not, thank God. So Norman Neal is going to be a Washington Commander. I think this guy's going to be great. If he can have a dev trait, it'll be even better. He's ranked 10 in true value. Let's go. Hidden dev. That's a great pick. 90 strength, 85 excel, 84 speed at 267 pounds. I actually think this guy's going to be a dog. Shout out Focus Scouting, by the way. That was one of the players I Focus Scouted. That was very clutch. Now, I really don't know what I want to go with here in the 3rd round. I wouldn't hate drafting like a linebacker, because even though we will be able to move Frankie Louvu just to a strictly off-ball linebacker, we do still need one more. Oh, shit. And Jake Parker actually looks pretty good at 6'1" out of Oklahoma. His physicals aren't crazy, but A, play rec, B, pursuit, B, tackle, A, hit power. He's going to be pretty good at stopping the run. I think this guy's going to be pretty good. I'm going to take a chance on Jake Parker here. As long as he do 27 in true value, we have 3 round 1 talents so far. He's also hidden dev. 3 absolutely great picks so far. I'm normally pretty bad at drafting this game. This is fantastic. Honestly, I will take our 4th round pick, because I want to try to see if I can find like a sleeper running back, and then I'll let the CPU have the rest of them. I mean, the most sleeper running back there is a UDFA, and I'm definitely not going to be taking this guy here in the 4th round. He looks pretty good. Maybe the CPU will take Grant for us, but I'm going to let the CPU have the extra 4th and 5th rounders we have. We're going to go ahead and get to the draft recap, see how we did. I do think this team is going to be a lot better going into year 2, and hopefully we can actually make the playoffs this time. Yo, I don't know who Charles Davis is, but he's a moron. That was a very good draft by us. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we did. We got a 76 overall receiver with the 1st pick. We got a 76 overall DN in the 2nd pick. And we got a 75 overall middle linebacker. The CPU did a terrible job, so I never should have handed it over to them. They also drafted a quarterback in the 4th round. We have Jaden Daniels. What is that? Very terrible job by the CPU. I'm glad I did my part. We can blame the CPU if anything goes wrong. So here's how the roster is looking going into year 2. Jaden Daniels is up to an 88 overall. We added a good rookie receiver. We're going to have Deebo as the backup running back once again, and he is once again our starting slot receiver. But we added Neal to the pass rush, which I think will help out a ton, especially if he can have superstar X Factor or even win Defensive Rookie of the Year and maybe get a dev up there. That would be fantastic. But as you can see, we have Deebo as a starting slot receiver. Armstrong is still going to be a starting pass rusher, but he'll be getting some help with Frankie Louvu. And then now Frankie Louvu gets to be our starting sub linebacker. I do think this year will be better. Hopefully Jaden Daniels doesn't throw a bunch of picks in the first half of the season, and that'll make everything a lot easier. Now, I don't know what I'm going to scout this offseason, though. I do think we could scout corners again, and with Deebo and Terry McLaurin being old, I do think scouting receivers again couldn't hurt. So I think we're just going to have the scouts be the exact same, because Marshawn Lattimore is going to continue to regress, and our DBs are a little bit thin, and Terry McLaurin and Deebo are both aging, and outside of that, our receivers are pretty thin. So we're going to leave the scouts the exact same, and we're going to set our season goal once again to be to make the playoffs. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and hop straight into the mid-season. Let's see how the team's doing. Hopefully we're better than 3-4 this time, maybe 4-3, maybe 5-2, maybe 6-1, maybe 7-0. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how we're doing. All right, we're basically in the same spot as last mid-season. We're 3-3, coming off of a bye. Offense and defense both aren't doing very good. It might be time to try out a new defensive playbook. I don't know anything about the 4-3 playbooks. Jaden Daniels is starting this season off slow once again. 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Brian Robinson sucks. Deebo Samuel is not doing nearly as good on the ground, only averaging 2.9 per carry. Terry McLaurin's having a pretty good season. Marco Clement's having a pretty good season. Deebo's doing a decent amount through the air. I almost wonder if it's time to just have Deebo be a full-time receiver. We'll see what we want to do there. We'll worry about that here in a second. How are we doing defensively? Our sack leader, Jerzon Newton, 1.5. It's definitely time to change the defensive playbook. Let's try to figure out which one we're going to change it to. The Bills have 23 sacks, and they're a 4-3. So we're going to try out the Bills' defensive playbook. Other than that, let's see what players are ready to negotiate, any contracts we need to work out. Terry McLaurin should once again be here, and he's still not interested. So we're going to do the same thing as last season, just leave this till the end of the year. Marshawn Lattimore's here, and he's also not interested, but with his age, he should be pretty easy to get. I'm going to offer him 1 year, $16 million, which is honestly overpaying because he will regress at the end of the season, but we're going to send this through anyway, and he does accept it, so we'll have 1 more year with Marshawn Lattimore at least. Quan Martin is starting at free safety for us. I do think it'd be better for us to bring him back, and even if we do find a better replacement in free agency or something, we'll still have him on the team. However, he does not accept right now, so he can himself. Tyler Biadasz, I definitely want to bring back. We'll give him 3 years, $30 million, which he accepts. Deron Payne, we also need to bring back. I'll give him like a 2-year, $47 million deal, which he takes, which is perfect. We definitely do need to start looking into trying to get a young D tackle, though, for whenever we do lose Deron Payne. Frankie Louvu's been playing pretty decent for us. Is he worth this much money? I'll give him 3 years, 36, see if he takes it, which he does. I'm actually pretty content with that amount. Joe Tooney, I do like having him around. I'll definitely re-sign him for 1 more year. We'll give him 1 year, $20 million. He resigns as well. Holy shit, we have to resign every player this offseason. Trent Brown's not interested. I think we should wait to resign him till the end of the season, and then we'll come back to all the rest of these at the end of the season as well. And then for our national focus position, I think we're going to once again go wide receiver because we might be losing Terry McLaurin once again. I really don't feel like putting the tag on him twice in a row. So we're going to try to scout out another receiver, and with that, we are ready to get to the end of the season. Hopefully, we can actually make the playoffs this time. We have an 89 overall offense, with the 13th offense in the league when it comes to points. So that's pretty cool. Let's get to the end of the season. Let's see how we're doing. And thank God, because we are sitting at 11-6 and did indeed make the playoffs, and we actually won the NFC East. Cowboys missed the playoffs. That's awesome. Let's see how everybody did this year. Hopefully a lot better because we went 11-6. Jaden Daniels had a way better second half of the year. Got almost 4,000 yards, 39 touchdowns, so only 11 interceptions. That's great. Brian Robinson actually finished the year pretty good as well. 960 yards, almost 4 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel definitely wasn't as effective on the ground this year. 400 yards, 4 per carry, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels got over 400 rushing yards as well. Deebo Samuel, though, had 600 yards, so another season where he had like 1,000 yards and 10 total touchdowns, so I'll definitely take it. Terry McLaurin with a 1,000-yard season, 6 touchdowns. And Kyron Lacey with 700 yards and 10 touchdowns. Marco Clement as a rookie didn't go too crazy, 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Dallas Goedert, the new Washington Commander, with 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Defensively, were we able to help out the pass rush at all, changing the playbook? Deron Payne was our leading sacker again. Jerzon Newton, 4.5. Dorrance Armstrong with 4.5. Frankie Louvu, 2.5. Norman Neal sucked as a rookie. He did get 12 TFLs, which I guess is decent. 5 picks out of Mike Sainristil, though. That's awesome. 4 out of Marshawn Lattimore, 3 out of Jake Parker, 3 out of Quan Martin, 2 out of Cam Bynum, 2 out of Denzel Burke, 1 out of Frankie Louvu, and 1 out of whoever this is. Decent amount of interceptions. I'll definitely take that. Let's take a look at the awards for this year. MVP this year is going to go to Joe Burrow. Jaden Daniels did get a couple votes, though. Finishes in 8th place. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Puka Nacua. No Commanders. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Fred Warner. Of course, no Commanders. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Alton Hilton for the Packers. We come in 4th with Markel Clement. Defensive Rookie of the Year actually goes to Jake Parker, who I want to say was the linebacker we drafted this year. So he'll get a dev up, and that's massive. You know what else is massive? Norman Neal comes in 5th for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm talking too fast. I need to chill out, take a breather. Whew. Now we're taking on the Packers here in our first playoff game of the video. I do think I'm going to hop in and play a drive just because that sounds kind of fun. I want to play a drive with this team with Deebo Samuel. I'm only going to play the first drive and then I'll let the game play out through simulation. But it'd be pretty cool if we could make a push here in this second year because I really think our Super Bowl window is starting to close. And this video is not going to be very fun if I don't win a Super Bowl. So let's see if we can get a good opening drive here with the Commanders. Okay, I thought if I ran this formation, Deebo would be the running back, but it's not the case. So it looks like Brian Robinson's going to get the ball here. I do want to run a play where I run the ball with Deebo Samuel. That will happen at some point. Oh yeah, Terry McLaurin's wide open. There we go. I didn't want to house that. I don't think I would have anyway, but I didn't want to house that because I want to do something with Deebo. All right, Deebo is officially on the field. We're going to try to throw it to him. I'm going to force it into Deebo here. That's kind of gay. There we go. He caught the ball. Boom. We got Deebo involved now. Let's get this. Let's get a touchdown here on the first drive. Now, Brian Robinson does seem to be getting better and better every season for us. So I do think there's a world where he could be like superstar soon and end up being like our long-term running back. Also, what a play by Brian Robinson right there. That was beautiful. We're having a very beautiful opening drive. Let's hit a little read option here with Jaden Daniel. Let's see what we can work with. Oh, I'm out of there. Okay, I need a slide. Whew, if I would have fumbled, I would have broke my monitor. We are cooking here on this opening drive. Deebo Samuel is now at running back. Now, previous years, whenever I've used him at running back, he did seem pretty prone to fumbling, so let's try not to fumble here. Oh, go Deebo. Run him the fuck over. All right, Deebo got heavily involved in the opening drive. Let's try to punch this into the end zone here. Go up 7-0. That could be pretty big here against the Packers. Hopefully, we can get a win here in the wild card round. I kind of like Deebo here, honestly. Nope, it's going to be Terry McLaurin. All right, we're on the board. Take a 7-0 lead here against the Packers. We're going to let the CPU play it out, see if we can get a playoff win here. So we get another stop on defense. If we could score here, we could almost end the game, but we do not. And then the Packers have a very long touchdown drive to tie it up at 7. We do get the ball to start the half. We get down the field to go at 14-7 and get another stop. That's huge. And we get another touchdown. That's a 14-point lead here late in the fourth quarter. I think that's pretty much all she wrote, and we are going to beat the Packers in the wild card round and move on to the divisional. We're going against the Rams in the divisional, actually. Looks like they had one of the best offenses and one of the best defenses in the league this year. We're going to go ahead and watch this one as well, because if we win this game, we could find ourselves in our second NFC championship in 3 years, including the one in real life. This is obviously only time making the playoffs, this video. But let's go ahead and hop in and see what's going to happen here against the Rams. We do get a stop on our opening drive, and with the high-powered offense like the Rams, I will definitely take that. And we just let them score pretty much instantly. We're going to need to put some points on the board here because the Rams are going to score, and if we don't score, we're going to lose. We do get a field goal, but Rams score again to make it 14-3. We get another field goal to cut it to an 8-point game. I mean, it's technically a game, but I don't feel very hopeful right now. We do get a touchdown drive, and we do tie it at 14. We're actually going into overtime. We get a touchdown on the first drive, and we just won in overtime against the Rams. Our defense actually made a stop to win the game. And the Washington Commanders find themselves back in the NFC Championship. Let's see who we're going to be playing here. Hopefully it's not the Eagles because we all know how that would go. I hope it's a pretty easy team. If we can make it to the Super Bowl here, that would be big. Oh, the Lions. Yeah, this is going to be a very hard game. 99 overall, Aiden Hutchinson. 99 overall, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And 98 overall, Jahmyr Gibbs. We did it for the first 2 games. We may as well hop in and watch what's going to happen here. They are a higher overall team. They have a lot more weapons than we do. I do think the Lions are probably going to beat us here. But if there's a world out there where we could win this game, that would be great. So we're actually going to start off with the ball here. Let's see if we can get anything going on offense. We are not able to, but we do get a stop on defense. Our defense has actually been playing pretty decent here in the playoffs. Another stop by our defense. We need to get on the board, though. Take a 7-0 lead. And we get another stop, so we go into halftime up 7-0. Detroit opens the second half with a field goal to make it 7-3. We get down the field, kick a field goal, make it a touchdown game. They match our touchdown to make it 10-10. We need to score here, which we do, 17-10. Lions tie it up. Why did we not just kick a game-winning field goal? Were we not? Am I stupid? Okay, whatever. Can we play? Yeah, we're going to lose. We lost. I have no idea what just happened. But we won. I know that much. It looks like we had the opportunity to get a game-winning field goal. We didn't. Go into overtime. We get down the field, get stopped, and then the Lions go all the way down the field. They don't kick a field goal, and we somehow end up with the ball, and we go kick a field goal to win in overtime, and we are going to the Super Bowl. Now, this is honestly another game where I might hop in and play a drive. It's the Super Bowl. I'm going to do what I want, and this will probably not be a very long rebuild. I might do one more year after this, especially if we win the Super Bowl. Like, we got Deebo, we won the Super Bowl. That was pretty much the whole point of the video. But with us being in the Super Bowl, let's take a look at the lineup, see if we got any dev-ups, and, you know, just see how everybody's overall is looking. Jaden Daniels up to a 94 overall. Clement is now a superstar. That's beautiful. Defensively, Neal is only normal dev, but Parker goes up to superstar. That's huge. You know, this roster is actually very good. So I'm going to hop in and play a drive of the Super Bowl. We're going to see if we can hopefully win here in year number 2 of the rebuild. We're going against the Chiefs. So the Chiefs have now made it to, if we're factoring in real life, 5 straight Super Bowls. Thanks, Madden. I mean, I get it's technically realistic because it's the Chiefs, but like that's just so boring. This is a video game. Let's make it more fun, bro. So we're actually going to start off with the ball here. I'm going to hop in and play this drive because I do what I want. I definitely want to run read option on the first play, and if I fumble, then I'm just the worst alive. Oh, yeah, I'm out of there. Oh, shit. See, it really looked like he was going for the running back, and then he just kind of stopped, and yeah, that's on me. So, for whatever reason, Deebo is not on the field. I don't know why Luke McCaffrey is in, but whatever. Let's not forget we have Dallas Goedert now, though. And Dallas Goedert's wide open on the post. Absolutely beautiful. We need to get Deebo in the game, bro. He's the whole reason for this video. Let's get Deebo in. Where's he at? We're going to hand this off to Deebo here, see if we can get something going. Good blocks by the offensive line. Deebo breaks tackle, picks up the first down. Shout out Deebo Samuel. It'd be cool if we can get him like a touchdown here. I'm not going to try to force it to him or anything, but if we could get him a good game, like maybe get him Super Bowl MVP, you know how sick that would be? I think Terry McLaurin's going to be open on this curl. He is catching it set down. By the way, it's not on all Madden. It's on all pro. I don't care if I'm a loser. You can cry about it, all right? Deebo on this corner route might be a touchdown. It looks like it's man. I think he's going to be there. And Deebo Samuel gets the opening touchdown in the Super Bowl. It'd be really cool if we could win this game because I want to see what stat line Deebo would put up here. And we do get a stop on the Chiefs' opening drive, except we do nothing afterwards, and they tie it 7-7. We do look like we're marching down the field. We get another touchdown to take a lead going into halftime. Chiefs open up the half with a touchdown drive to tie it up at 14. We're getting down the field again, get a field goal to go up by 3. They tie it 17-17. We get a touchdown to go up by 7, and we just won the Super Bowl. I genuinely, I was happy we made the playoffs. I did not think we were going to win the Super Bowl this year. I want to see how everybody played in this game. Jaden Daniels actually had a very good game. 17 of 21, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's probably going to end up being the Super Bowl MVP. Deebo Samuel had 5 carries for 29 yards and 5 receptions for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, Deebo might be the Super Bowl MVP. That would be so cool. And Dorrance Armstrong comes out of nowhere and gets 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. That's absolutely amazing. So we're just going to do one more year of this rebuild now that we won the Super Bowl. Clearly, the Commanders getting Deebo was a good idea. But we're going to do one more season, see if maybe we can go back-to-back like we're on the cover of Lethal Weapons, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. We need to see who won Super Bowl MVP. I really hope it's Deebo. That would be really awesome. I mean, he had both of Jaden Daniels' passing touchdowns and also had like 50 yards on the ground. I don't see how they give it to anybody else. All right, they gave it to Jaden Daniels. I guess that's fair enough. We all know who it should have gone to. Let's be real. Talk about a successful season, am I right? After that, do we tag Terry McLaurin again? I mean, we just won the Super Bowl. We have Jaden Daniels' 5th year. We'll go ahead and pick that up. Terry McLaurin's down to an 89 overall. If he doesn't take like a 2-year, $50 million deal, I'm not going to re-sign him. Yeah, he's not interested in signing. And a tag for him at this point is going to be $42 million a year. I think I'm good off that. We can try to get him back in free agency if we want. I forgot we didn't get Quan Martin back. We're going to up his deal a little bit. We'll give him 3 years, $21 million. Did he just say he's not interested in signing? And yeah, $20 million tag. I'm good off that. We can try to get him back in free agency as well. Dorrance Armstrong, I originally wasn't very interested in bringing back, but he just went off in the Super Bowl and got 3 sacks. He'd like to play for a new team next year. Everybody's starting to piss me off just a little bit. Trent Brown is actually interested in playing for the team. We're going to give him 1 year, $20.5 million, and he actually does re-sign, thank God. And then the rest of these players I want to say are just like backups and depth. So we did lose a few people in free agency, but I do think this should be a pretty good free agency class with how quiet the last couple ones have been. So hopefully we can just go all out this year, go back to back, and then, you know, wrap this up. So let's go ahead and see who's available in free agency with our $114 million. Holy shit, Kyle Hamilton is here, and of course he's not interested in the team, dude. Do I just go all out for Kyle Hamilton? Like 7 years, $180 million? Will that even get me the top offer? It does give me the top offer. And honestly, I'd be willing to pay more than that. We're going to go 7 years, $190 million. That gets us the top offer. If he doesn't sign, this game's terrible. And we are kind of going all out. It couldn't hurt to get Marlon Humphrey. This definitely isn't like the most realistic free agency we're going with here, but we're just going to go all out and try to get another Super Bowl. Teams are way overpaying for Marlon Humphrey. I'm not going to do all that. And then honestly, do we try to get Devontae Adams just because fuck it? It does suck. There's really no receivers available. So we're just going to try to go for an old-ass Devontae Adams because outside of that, there's really nothing. And then honestly, with all this money we have left over, why not just go for Marlon Humphrey? And then I'm going to be a dickhead and give Kyle Hamilton an even bigger offer because I want to make sure we lock him down because there's been so many times where I am the #1 offer for a player and I don't get him. So we're going to heavily overpay for Kyle Hamilton, completely ruin this team's future just so we can go back-to-back. We're going to send these offers through. Hopefully we get all 3 players here. I think it would almost guarantee us another Super Bowl if we get all 3. Okay, we got Kyle Hamilton. We got Devontae Adams. We did not get Marlon Humphrey, which we really didn't need that bad anyway, so that's okay with me. But yeah, we got an old-ass washed-up Devontae Adams, so that's pretty cool. Let's try to get Devontae Adams a ring, if you know what I'm saying. Does Devontae Adams have a ring? I want to say he wasn't on the team when the Packers won the Super Bowl. Yeah, he has never won a championship before. I thought so. All right, so we kept the offensive line together. That's fine. We still got Dallas Goedert. The receiving core is a little bit weak, I will admit. We could try to draft another receiver, but, I mean, we're kind of at a point where we're trying to win now, and this is going to be the last year. So I also wouldn't hate, like, trading our first-round pick for a pretty decent receiver. I think we move Cameron Bynum over to the starting free safety. I forgot we didn't get Dorrance Armstrong back, so we really need a pass rusher. Do we just accept the fact that we don't have any? Let's not forget we have Deebo Samuel. He still is a receiving weapon. So I think we just accept that our receiving core is going to be a little bit weak and hope Clement has a really good year and breaks out even more. And we trade our first-round pick for a pretty decent older pass rusher, I think that's going to be the play here. Like somebody like Trey Hendrickson, I mean, in real life, he would go for way less than a first-round pick, but I'm assuming they're not going to accept this. God, this game makes me so angry. Okay, I had to overpay, but that's just how it goes in Madden, and this is going to be the last season, so it's whatever. I was just, instead of going for like a really good pass rusher, a really good receiver, I was like, how about we just go for a pretty mid pass rusher and a pretty mid receiver and trade like a second and a third. I did have to give up a first and next year's second to get Chase Young and Romeo Doubs, but it's whatever. We did it. It's too late to say anything now. And honestly, now that I think about it, if we start Romeo Doubs, Devontae Adams won't start in the receiving core, so getting Romeo Doubs really wasn't that helpful. But we do still have a second-round pick here to work with, so I'll go ahead and just make that pick real quick. Basically a third-round pick, because it's the last pick of the second round. You know what? I'm just going to take the best offensive lineman on the board and go with Desmond Session. Wow, he was not the best offensive lineman on the board whatsoever. What a terrible pick. We just set the franchise back a decade. Let's get into this last year. Let's try to go back-to-back, and then we'll wrap this video up. Yeah, I think where I messed up is I don't think I should have traded for Romeo Doubs. I think I should have went for a pass rusher better than Chase Young. But bringing him back to Washington is pretty cool, so I'm cool with that too. But I do think we should have just gone for a better pass rusher than Chase Young and just left the receiving core how it is, because we got Devontae Adams, we have Clement, and we also have Deebo Samuel. But Romeo Doubs is going to come in and be the wide receiver 1, so I guess that's cool. And then we'll make Deebo the starting slot receiver, and we'll just go from there. We brought Chase Young back. I need to move this around so that Cameron Bynum's a starting free safety. I'll make sure to do that. But Deebo's once again going to be the starting slot receiver, and he's going to be the starting third down back as well. Let me move Cameron Bynum over to free safety, and then we're ready to get into this final year. All right, one last look at the final roster. Jaden Daniels sitting at a 91 overall before the season's even started. We added Romeo Doubs. We added Devontae Adams. We still got Deebo sitting around. Brian Robinson's been doing better. Offensive line looks great. We added Chase Young. We brought him back to Washington. Defensive line is looking very good. We have good linebackers. We added Kyle Hamilton, and our secondary is actually very good as of right now. So, I mean, if we were able to make the Super Bowl last year, we made the team even better. There's really no reason we shouldn't make the Super Bowl once again this year, but I guess we're just going to have to find out. We're going to go and sim straight to the playoffs, and let's just see what happens. And of course, we have a 90 overall team, and we go 8-9 and miss the playoffs. Sounds about right. We'll go ahead and just take a look at everybody's stats. We could do one more season, really, but Deebo's regressing, and he's really the whole point. Dude, Jaden Daniels had his best season of the video so far. 3,700 yards, 36 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Brian Robinson is honestly kind of holding his back. Deebo did decent on the ground, averaged almost 4 per carry, got almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson did get 13 touchdowns, though. And Deebo got 800 yards through the air and 8 touchdowns. Like, he's playing very good. Romeo Doubs was good for it this season. Clement was good once again. Dallas Goedert was good. And honestly, our pass rush was great. Chase Young got 7 sacks, 6.5 out of Neal. We got 3 picks out of Lattimore and 3 out of Kyle Hamilton. I really don't understand how this team went 8-9, if I'm being honest. Like, I just want to try to show you guys how dumb this game really is. We have a 90 overall team, and I want to show you guys, like, the other teams overall. Yeah, so we are tied for the second highest overall team with the Lions, the 49ers, and the Chiefs, and then the Eagles have a 91 overall team. So we're tied for the second highest overall team, and we didn't even go 500 and miss the playoffs. That's a little bit why you haven't been seeing rebuilds from me recently. I'm going to see if there's a world where I can maybe try to keep this team together and maybe we can run it back one more season, but everybody's just going to keep regressing, and especially Deebo, who's like the point of the video. But I mean, if we're able to get him back, and I mean, he just had one of his best seasons as a receiver. I know it's been a while since I've made a rebuild. This game honestly started pissing me off for a while, and I'm sure you can see why. But on top of that, my whole setup broke. Like, my PC basically just completely crashed out, and I had to get it fixed, and I finally did. And the way I was making my other videos, it was kind of hard to do a rebuild on it. So I do still want to make more real-life NFL content, so expect more of that to come. But I am going to be back, hopefully making more rebuilds for you guys. And I'm sure some of you guys remember, we are doing a giveaway for whenever we hit 1,000 subscribers. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed to the channel, take a screenshot, and send it to me on Instagram, which will be at the top of the screen right here. And then once we hit 1,000 subscribers, someone randomly from my DMs will be winning a free NFL jersey. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. More rebuilds coming soon. I love you guys. It feels good to be back. Deuces.
Man, I was so thrilled. Here we in late with the hoes, we got a boatload. Ho, I keep a K with a drum, no need to reload. You not bulletproof, shoot by myself just like a free throw. Bitch on my body, then I meet up. That bitch on the side, she want me to fuck a primo.